I've had headache for a couple of days now because the hair was pulled, and so my scalp was very tender.
Sue Young knows her physical injuries will heal, but the emotional scarring behind what happened to her last Thursday won't quickly fade away.
For the past few days, the brawl at the Montgomery, Alabama riverboat deck has taken over the internet, with many people reacting and being entertained by, and even some people celebrating seeing black people come together to protect the security guard. And as the internet does, a variety of comedic memes popped up, making light of the comedic side of the situation. But in the end, there were no serious injuries, a few misdemeanor charges, and this will just go down as a passing thought of the summer of 2023. And running nearly concurrent with the boat dock incident in Montgomery, Alabama, Asian American woman attacked on NYC Subway says she doesn't think it was a hate crime. While the incident is being investigated as a hate crime, Sue Young, the victim, does not believe the attack was racially motivated and cautioned against carceral solutions.
So this afternoon, the search is on for a young woman wanted for attacking two Asian women on a New York City subway. The NYPD is investigating it as a possible hate crime. CBS News' John Diaz now has more on how the victims are reacting.
What started off as pointing and laughing quickly turned into something more violent, and now these two victims are hoping that their attacker is caught quickly.
I will illustrate the power of community later in this video, but what I want you to pay attention to is that in this incident, the Asians involved did not throw a single punch.
My glasses got broken. I've had headache for a couple of days now because the hair was pulled, and so my scalp was very tender.
Sue Young knows her physical injuries will heal, but the emotional scarring behind what happened to her last Thursday won't quickly fade away.
It was just insults after insults after insults.
This article is from NBC News from August 8th, 2023, coincidentally enough written by another Asian journalist. New York City police are searching for an unidentified young woman who was recorded last week physically assaulting an Asian woman and harassing her family, as well as a bystander who videotaped the confrontation. The victim, who's come forward as Sue Young, a 51-year-old tourist from Nevada, said she and her family were seated in a relatively empty car before she heard loud laughter that appeared to be directed at them.
Those insults, Young says, came from this woman and her friends, while all of them were riding on an F train. Police say they were making anti-ethnic references toward Young and her family, who were visiting from Nevada.
Young said that the three young women began cursing at one point, saying things like, "Go back to where you came from."
And finally, my husband felt like he needed to step in, and so he started saying, can you use some other words besides those?
She says after the girls realized they were being recorded by another passenger, Joanna Lynn, and one of them started attacking her.
This is the account of Lynn, the lady who filmed the attack and posted it to Twitter. "I've also had self-defense training, so I know to cover parts of my head that are vital. So I just took the blow, and immediately after that, I was like, okay, this is awful. It could get even worse," Lynn said. "So I called the cops right after the first hit." Lynn said she was struck 2 more times before rolling on the floor to the side of the subway car and eventually leaving the train.
She ran over, grabbed me by the hair, threw me on the ground, and started punching me several times.
Young couldn't stand to see Lynn getting attacked, so she says she got up and pushed one of the girls out of the way. Then that same teen attacked her.
This is uncut footage of the incident, and you'll see here the young lady that's with her got up and tried to obstruct the view, but you're going to see later in this video that this young lady, she really did not want to be a part of this. And I think she's trying to do the best to help her friend, but you can tell that she has a level of regret. And this is where it escalates, and a gentleman comes between them and tries to calm them down, but he doesn't really have the power to calm them down. Here she notices the lady Lynn that's recording, and she accosted her, and this is them standing in front of the family, and I guess that's the little daughter there. And you can see that the ordeal continues, and I think it started with the jokes that you heard in the article. There he is. So you can see that she's really doesn't want to be there because she knows this is just not going to end in a good situation. But there's no one in the vicinity that can control the young lady who's apparently very triggered. And Even her friends are saying, we don't really want to be a part of this.
The Hate Crimes Task Force has now taken over this investigation. According to the NYPD, anti-Asian hate crimes are down significantly this year, from 64 in 2022 to 30 this year.
Though the NYPD's Hate Crimes Task Force is investigating the incident, both Young and Lin said that they do not believe the incident was a hate crime. Young said she believes that stereotypes about Asians being less confrontational and more passive likely led to the young women who are black to see them as easy targets. But she does not believe that they were initially motivated by racial animus. These are very young girls. Somebody or something or some circumstance has made a big impression on them, whether it's historical pressure, societal pressure, or social pressure. Young said, using law enforcement to curtail this, I'm not sure if that's going to fix the problem. It just seems like it's more an underlying issue that we as a society and as a community need to hold everybody accountable, not just law enforcement. This is an example of taking the high road, which you certainly can take when you have your chess pieces in order, like this.
Joanne Yo is president of the Asian American Federation, which started its Hope Against Hate initiative, promoting situational awareness against hate.
I think it's so great to see so many young people, non-Asians, stepping up because they understand the shared commitment we have to making sure that everybody is safe.
This is the definition of community from your run-of-the-mill social studies book from elementary school. A community is a group of people who share the same things, such as where they live, work, and play. And think about this. It is also a place where people solve problems together. During President Biden's first term as sitting president, he signed into law federal recognition of Juneteenth, the day that recognized the freeing of the slaves. During this same first term, President Biden also signed a comprehensive Asian hate crime bill under which people can now be persecuted for selectively attacking Asians in particular for crimes. This story is an excellent example as to how a proper community works. The Asian community had a problem, they came together, they got the problem solved in form of a hate crime bill, and now they don't need to throw punches. All they have to do is call politicians, activate committees and groups of people that have power under the federal law to take care of incidences like this, essentially saying, we don't know who has to put up with this kind of behavior, but we don't. This is the power of a functioning community. People have roles in the community. There's a hierarchy in a community. People cooperate under a common goal in a community. And people help each other where there is mutual benefit in a community. Unfortunately, we don't see that in the Black community, and that's why we get Juneteenth and Asians get a bill that say, if you're going to act like this in the subway, we can have the threat of federal law on a 16-year-old young girl who they refer to often as a woman under a hate crime bill. This is an example of a community getting stuff done. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.